Yeah. Um, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and ultimately, I want to say this um, carefully. I'm not promoting like a postmodern, what's true for me isn't necessarily true for you, and vice versa. At the same time, um, there is wisdom in knowing yourself. Okay, so uh, for example, growing up, I'm a well, number one, I'm a guy, and I like action. I like action movies. I like um, war movies. Grew up watching Terminator, Terminator 2, Rambo, movies like that. Lord of the Rings, Gladiator, things like that were kind of my jam. And but my mom would allow me to watch these things, right? But she'd always give me this preface every time I was watching anything. I mean, it could be Pokemon for any of you guys that remember Pokemon TV, or it could be, um, yeah, Terminator, Lord of the Rings. Um, it's not real. Like that's what she would always say. She'd be like, "Just remember, that's not real." Oh, okay. And that, even though it was subtle, it was simple. I never walked away from something like that, kind of taking it with me in this way, like I'm going to do these things, right? I'm going to perpetuate this lifestyle or this action that I'm seeing promoted in this show. It was something that existed as fantasy, as fiction, and make believe, right? So I left it there. And just that kind of simple reminder, hey, this isn't real, allowed it to live in that space of entertainment, and I didn't take it with me, and which also affected my behaviors, right? Because if I understand that this isn't real, this isn't how people really behave, then okay, I'm not then going to take something that I know is fake and try and implement it into my daily practices. Is it fun to maybe talk about with friends and stuff? Yeah, it's talking point, relationship, relational in that way, which is awesome. At the same time, it kind of existed there. So when we think about these things of be transformed by the renewing of your mind, setting our eyes, our focus on the things of God and not the things of man, or the things, spiritual things, and not the things of the world, you kind of need to know what your boundaries are. Okay, and for example, okay, I never watched Game of Thrones, which you might say that sounds like it'd be right on my jam. Well, from what I understand, there's a lot of things that just I don't think are appropriate in that sex and nudity, and I just don't think that that's something that I need to be putting into myself. That I need to be allowing my eyes to see and my mind to think about. So, I stay away from those kinds of things, and that's why I say wisdom and discernment in the things that you watch, knowing yourself, but also being critically honest about yourself too. Don't say, "Oh, I could watch this, and it's really not going to affect me that much." It affects you a lot more than you think. Movies, TV, music, entertainment of any kind where we absorb it, especially in a visual or auditory sense, sticks with you. As a young idiot, I listened to a lot of ICP, and those songs. I haven't listened to ICP in 10 plus years, right? Um, yeah, probably closer to 15 years. I still have the lyrics of those songs that will enter my mind, and that's not something that I want, and it's something that I have to put out of my mind as soon as it enters in. Okay, so to think that things don't affect us is a willful ignorance, or naivety, and you know, be wise about what we're putting in. One of the things that Francis Chan talked about, and I don't know if you know who Francis Chan is. He is a church leader he was in Sil- Napa Valley, Silicon Valley, and then he ended up going to San Francisco. Was a leader of a mega church and also like home church, and now he's actually out of the United States, but just taking his faith seriously. One of the things that he challenged his family on was, if you're going to watch a half hour of TV, you need to maybe read your Bible and pray for a half hour. And he did that for every, like, if you're going to watch this much of this thing or participate this much in this television set, in this movie or whatever. And yeah, if you're a follower of Christ, does that mean more to you than somebody who's not? Absolutely. At the same time, I think there's something there. If we're inundating ourselves with entertainment, constantly, then what are we actually getting from even the world around us? So those are things to consider. But as a follower of Christ, as a disciple of Christ, I do care about the things that I watch and that I put into my mind. I'm careful to say, things like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or whatever. Hey, this is fantasy. It's not real. I can enjoy it as escapism, but it's not real. My life is about being dedicated to Christ, and so if I'm going to do this, then I need to at least know that I'm also spending quality time with my Father and with the world that He's put me in as an ambassador for reconciliation between God and man.